Hello everyone, this is Rexer of the YouTube and sometimes Twitch channel NotQuiteThereGaming, bringing you another Warframe video. This week we are not going to be taking a look at a Warframe, sadly, because the Warframe that I did want to do this week, I don't have the proper mods to tweak it in the exact ways that I wanted to tweak it. So instead we're going to be taking a look at a weapon. I usually don't do weapon guides because honestly, ever since Damage 2.0, which I know it's a long time ago now, I haven't really taken the time to seriously take a look at what damage types certain enemies are weak against and properly damage type my weapons. I generally build for raw damage and include certain procs that I like. In today's case, however, I really have to recommend this weapon, and there are a few things that are interchangeable easily, so you can damage type the weapon yourself after watching this video. Also, there are a few things that will synergize well with your playstyle regardless of if you even want to go that far with the weapon. So, hello Nova Prime. I did finish my Nova Prime formatting as well, so you'll be happy to know that. My build is working very well, as I've anticipated. So we're going to be taking a look, not at Lotus, not at the Boltor Prime, not at even the Fang Prime, which I prefer using for Zoran coptering better than the Zoran, just because I like the look of it more. We will be taking a look at the Synoid Gammacor. Yes, the syndicate weapon for Cephalon Suda. Now, there are a lot of things to be said about this weapon. First of all, the reason that I first decided to take a look at this weapon was because of the proc effect. The proc effect is radial magnetic damage, but more importantly, it restores a percentage of your energy. I believe it is 25%, and it also boosts your maximum energy by another 25%, if I am not entirely mistaken. However, you can find those specific numbers on the wiki, of course. Regardless, the fact remains that it does restore energy when it procs the syndicate. Proc. proc. Okay, we got that out of the way. Now, the other thing about this weapon, though, which I discovered while playing with it, is that it is ludicrously good damage. It does ludicrously good damage per second. So I decided to Forma it all the way. I tried a few syndicate weapons, and this is the one that I am most satisfied with so far. Before we get to that, though, percentile based energy restoration, that works very well with Warframes with high power efficiency, because any amount of energy restoration you can get more out of if you have high power efficiency, of course, but it also works very well with Warframes that have high energy pools, because of course it is percentile based, and if you have a higher energy pool, you get more energy out of it. So there is that. However, the paradox of this weapon is that it lets you work better with Warframes that don't have those kinds of enhanced statistics. So if you have a Warframe that has really high power efficiency and really high energy pool, do you really need something that restores your energy even more efficiently? Will you be able to use all that energy? Oftentimes, no. If you have, for example, a Warframe like my Nova Prime, which I opted to go with 50% power efficiency in, though, you might be able to put that extra energy to use, to proper use. And that is what the Synoid Gammacor primarily contributes to your and mine Warframe life. It gives you the opportunity to try Warframe builds that do not have the absolute maximum amount of energy pool, that do not have the absolute maximum amount of power efficiency. And you can maybe squeeze out an extra mod slot on your Warframe because of that, and do some more interesting things. So that is one really good reason to consider the Synoid Gammacor. However, even going past that, the damage of the syndicate proc itself is really good. 1000 magnetic damage in a very wide area. I don't know if that has something to do with what ranged mods your Warframe might have equipped. I imagine not, but it is a very wide area proc, and I was pleasantly surprised. Also, this proc synergizes very well, and that is why I have Nova equipped with Nova herself, because enemies that are afflicted by molecular prime will have the 1000 magnetic damage proc doubled on them, which is really nice. And that means that you will be able to rely on that proc for actual damage. It's not just some sort of a curiosity that serves as an addendum to the energy restoration or an addendum to an already awesome weapon. It is actual damage. It is actual area of effect damage, and you can rely on it quite well. I would say if you are playing, or if you have Nova, you can rely on it certainly until wave 30 in a defense mission, or minute 40 in a survival mission, even in a Tower 4 survival. It's pretty good. Obviously it won't score you a kill every time, and you might have to finish some people off with an actual pew pew from the weapon itself, but yeah, it's actually pretty good. And the way affinity sharing works currently, the weapon will gain affinity from things that are not the weapon's damage itself. So the proc will trigger more often than you might think it would. I believe the Sentinel's kills will count. Your teammates' kills will count as long as they are in EXP sharing range. You will get affinity according to that standard affinity spread that is on the wiki. And this weapon will proc surprisingly often. You will get extra energy, you will get that nice amount of damage, and I really like that. But even going further than that, the Synoid Gammacor is a truly fantastic weapon in itself, without the damage proc, without the energy restoration. It is a fantastic weapon. And you know, when you have a fantastic weapon, of course, the only thing that can make it even better is if you have Nova Molecular Prime your enemies, so it can do double fantastic damage. So yeah, that's how I discovered it. But when I modded it out completely, well, I'm going to show you the Warframe Builder builds in a little while, but first let's take a look at the builds in-game. So we have two that I want to show you. We have the raw maximum DPS build. We have Hornet Strike, Battle Diffusion, Lethal Torrent for multi-shot and fire rate. We have Anemic Agility for fire rate. We have Gunslinger for more fire rate. And we have 3 extra damage mods. Magnetic damage is innate to the weapon. Corrosive damage I opted for because I like corrosive procs. And heat damage I opted for because I just think that it would work well with a high damage weapon like this. Now you can switch out these 3 mods with whatever damage typing you see fit, and I think that would work very well even if you don't like the damage typing that I picked myself. For this particular build you only need 4 Forma. For the next one you will need 5 Forma. Now the next one is pretty much the same deal, except instead of Gunslinger we take Seeker. Usually you don't really make room for punch through on a sidearm because you want all the extra damage and then reasons and justifications, and you can't afford the mod slot, and With a primary weapon it's easier because we have that fire rate and punch through mod, I believe it's called Shred. I have it on my bolt or prime and I really love it. So in this case, however, the Synoid Gammacor has a startling amount of damage per second when you mod it for damage per second. So when you sacrifice a little bit of that for some punch through, it's not really that big of a deal. However, do keep in mind two things. Number one, punch through is even more awesome because you can punch through obstacles, through enemy cover. So you can do some really fun things with that. However, you will not always get the benefit of punch through. So even more so because the Synoid Gammacor is a beam weapon, so it has a maximum range of about 25 meters. So all targets you want to hit have to be within that range, which means that you're going to have to get maybe a little closer than you absolutely wanted to. Ouchies. You're gonna have to look into it. So either way, if you want the punch through variant or the raw damage variant, we're gonna take a look at just what kind of numbers this weapon gets. Yeah, so first of all, I do apologize if any of these statistics are calculated wrong. Sometimes Warframe Builder, as much as I love it, and I hope they don't sue me for using it in a video, sometimes it just doesn't save properly, and one of these builds did suffer from that, so I hope there will be no issue. You will find the completed builds in the description of this video. So we have the damage build right here on the left, and we have the punch through build right here on the right, and as you can see, we have 7,300 damage per shot on the damage build, and the same on the punch through build. The difference is in the fire rate. We have Gunslinger slotted out for the punch through build, which means burst DPS 47k for raw damage, 36k for punch through. Those are both really good numbers. So as you can see, I mean, you do sacrifice a lot for that extra punch through, but when you have those kinds of numbers, is it really gonna be an issue? I mean, if you can get the damage on 2 people instead of 1, you all are already doing more than the raw damage build. I do have to say, don't worry about ammo efficiency. This weapon has really good ammo efficiency. Base, it's almost impossible to run out of ammo on this weapon if you are not using fire rate enhancing mods. Even with the high fire rate builds that I have here, I did a 50-minute Tower 4 defense, Tower 4 survival run, in which I tested exactly that. And after minute 40 or so, I was kind of feeling the ammo going down, but I would still find enough ammo packs to keep going. I would actually sometimes get back to to full ammo and then go back down again, as I was using it a lot, and I didn't have any problems. I didn't have to resort to any ammo consumables, so that went really well. Why 50-minute survival? Well, when you do last minute testing, shit's gonna come up, and literally our Necros had to go shit. I'm not kidding. He went away, and for the next 30 minutes he didn't come back. Why do I have the feeling that he just wanted to idle? Moving right the fuck along, because some people... At least he excused himself before he did it, so he wasn't a total douchebag. Moving right along. So this weapon does not suffer from ammo problems. Still, of course, and always, bring some consumables with you just in case. However, you should not be having any problems with this weapon. The only downside of this weapon really is the fact that it is a beam weapon. Beam weapons have that maximum range, and yeah, that's pretty much it. However, this does work really well, like I said, with Nova. You can even forget what I said in my Nova guide about beam weapons charging Antimatter Drop, because the sheer power output, the sheer damage output of this weapon more than makes up for whatever shortcomings it would have for charging at range. Also, because it is a very powerful sidearm, you can choose to have some very interesting primary weapon choices. Like, for example, you could choose to take that Paris Prime you always wanted to use but never managed to find a situation in which you felt comfortable in having that as your primary weapon. You could take the Ogress again, you could take the Optic Core, and so on and so forth. You could take, like I say, primary weapons that are situational, because you have a secondary weapon that can pick up the slack in low to medium range. Okay, that's pretty much it. I've blathered on for way too long again, but that's the way it goes. Do please take a look at the Synoid Gammacor. It is a very awesome weapon, and hopefully I will be returning with a Warframe guide next week. This has been it from me. Thank you very much for your continued interest in my guide series. Thank you very much for watching this particular video itself. This has been Rexar of the YouTube and sometimes Twitch channel NotQuiteThereGaming, signing off.